The first teaser for the upcoming limited series adaptation of Pride and Prejudice has finally arrived, and it's already setting the internet ablaze. With a wistful Emma Corrin as Elizabeth Bennet and a brooding Jack Lowden as Mr. Darcy, this reimagining of Pride and Prejudice promises to be both faithful to Jane Austen's beloved novel and emotionally expansive in a way modern audiences crave. From windswept fields to candlelit ballrooms, the brief teaser hints at longing glances, restrained tension, and the intoxicating pull of two strong-willed characters fighting their own pride and prejudice. Here's everything we know so far about the limited series that could redefine Austen for a new generation. A classic reborn for a new era. Few novels have had the cultural staying power of Pride and Prejudice. Published in 1813, Austen's romantic masterpiece has inspired countless adaptations, most notably the iconic 1995 BBC series starring Colin Firth and Jennifer L., as well as the 2005 film led by Keira Knightley and Matthew Macfadyen. Each version brought something distinct. Firth's lake-soaked Darcy became legendary, while Knightley's Elizabeth radiated fiery independence. So what makes this new limited series different? The teaser suggests a deeply intimate, character-driven exploration of Elizabeth and Darcy's emotional landscapes, leaning into quiet vulnerability over grand melodrama. Emma Corrin, a wistful, intelligent Elizabeth. Emma Corrin first captured global attention portraying Princess Diana in The Crown, delivering a layered performance filled with fragility and resilience. That emotional nuance appears front and center in the teaser. Their Elizabeth Bennet is not merely witty and sharp-tongued, she seems observant, introspective, and quietly restless. In one striking shot, Corrin stands alone in a vast meadow, wind tugging at her dress, eyes distant as though contemplating a future she cannot yet define. It's an image that feels both quintessentially Austen and distinctly modern. Rather than portraying Elizabeth as overtly defiant, Corrin's version appears more contemplative, someone who processes deeply before speaking, who feels intensely beneath a composed exterior. It's a subtle shift, but one that could reshape how audiences interpret one of literature's most beloved heroines. Jack Lowden's brooding Mr. Darcy. If Corrin brings wistfulness, Jack Lowden brings brooding intensity. Known for his powerful performances in historical dramas and psychological thrillers, Lowden's Darcy looks less aloof aristocrat and more emotionally guarded man wrestling with vulnerability. The teaser opens with him standing at a grand window, silhouetted against gray skies, rigid posture, unreadable expression. Later, we see a fleeting moment where his composure cracks ever so slightly as Elizabeth walks away from him. This Darcy feels younger, more uncertain, a man aware of his privilege yet deeply uncomfortable with his own emotional limitations. Where earlier portrayals often emphasized pride as arrogance, Lowden's version hints at insecurity. It's a fascinating angle that aligns well with contemporary audiences who appreciate layered masculinity rather than stoic dominance. A cinematic, atmospheric vision. Visually, the teaser leans into muted earth tones and natural light. Rolling hills, candlelit interiors, and soft focus close-ups dominate the brief footage. The aesthetic feels intimate, almost like stepping inside a painting. Unlike some glossy period dramas that romanticize every frame, this adaptation appears grounded and tactile. The Bennet household feels lived in rather than polished. Dresses move naturally in the wind rather than appearing staged. The overall tone suggests emotional realism over fantasy. Why another adaptation now? It's a fair question. With so many beloved versions already existing, why revisit Pride and Prejudice? The answer lies in generational reinterpretation. Every era reclaims Austen. The 1995 BBC series reflected a 90s appetite for sweeping romantic television. The 2005 film mirrored early 2000s cinematic grandeur. Today's audiences crave emotional authenticity, nuanced mental health portrayal, and complex character psychology. A limited series format allows deeper exploration of secondary characters, family dynamics, and social pressures, themes that resonate strongly in today's conversations about class, gender expectations, and autonomy. The power of slow-burn romance. Modern television has embraced slow-burn storytelling, relationships that develop gradually through tension, misunderstanding, and eventual emotional clarity. The Elizabeth-Darcy dynamic practically invented that template. The teaser smartly avoids revealing too much. There's no dramatic proposal scene, no overt declaration of love. Instead, we get lingering eye contact, restrained dialogue, and heavy silence. It's a bold choice, and one that signals confidence in the source material. Supporting cast and expanded perspectives. While the teaser focuses primarily on Elizabeth and Darcy, reports suggest a strong supporting ensemble that will give added depth to characters like Jane, Bingley, Lydia, and Mr. Bennet. A limited series format allows space for arcs that often get compressed in film adaptations, particularly Lydia's scandal and Charlotte Lucas's pragmatic marriage decision. By giving these characters fuller emotional arcs, the series could provide richer commentary on women's limited choices in Regency England. Social media erupts. Within minutes of the teaser's release, fans took to social platforms to dissect every frame. Some praised Corrin's understated emotional presence. Others declared Lowden's intense gaze dangerously attractive. Comparisons to previous Darcys were inevitable, with debates erupting over whether Lowden could rival Firth's iconic lake scene or McFadden's rain-soaked confession. But many fans seem ready to embrace a new interpretation rather than cling to nostalgia. The pressure of legacy. Adapting Pride and Prejudice is no small task. The novel isn't just a romantic classic, it's a cultural touchstone. Every new Elizabeth and Darcy must contend with decades of audience attachment. Yet that pressure can also fuel creativity. By focusing on emotional nuance and subtle realism, this limited series appears determined not to imitate past versions but to carve out its own identity. A story that never gets old. At its core, Pride and Prejudice endures because it speaks to universal experiences. First impressions gone wrong. The tension between independence and vulnerability. The fear of emotional exposure. The challenge of overcoming one's own ego. Elizabeth and Darcy's journey isn't just romantic, it's transformational. And transformation stories never lose relevance. A potential awards contender. With 2 critically acclaimed leads and lush production design, the series could easily become a major awards season player. Period dramas, when executed thoughtfully, often attract recognition for acting, costume design, and cinematography. Corrin's past awards attention for The Crown suggests they're more than capable of anchoring a prestige project. Final thoughts. Love reimagined. The first teaser may be brief, but it accomplishes something powerful. It makes a story we know by heart feel fresh again. Emma Corrin's thoughtful Elizabeth and Jack Lowden's guarded Darcy hint at a romance built not on grand gestures but on emotional growth. In an era where audiences value vulnerability and psychological depth, this adaptation feels timely. If the full series delivers on the promise of its teaser, it won't just be another Austen remake. It will be a reminder of why we keep returning to Longbourn, Pemberley, and that unforgettable slow-burning love story. And once again, we'll fall in love with Pride and Prejudice, all over again.